Good evening. My name is Simon Bronitt. I'm the Dean and Head of Sydney Law School. It is my privilege to welcome you to this year's prize giving. But first, I'd like to acknowledge the New South Wales Governor, Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beazley, QC AC, who I'm told is watching tonight's events from Government House. I wish to thank the awardees, my colleagues, your family, your friends and classmates who've all logged on to celebrate with us this afternoon. There are more than 100 people zooming in from around Sydney and across the globe. Ordinarily, our annual prize day, prize giving, would be held at the new law building on campus, which is located in this beautiful country of the Gadigal peoples of the Eora Nation. I'm beaming to you from the law school itself, from the moot court in Camperdown. But sadly, because COVID has banned large events on campus, we have decided to move the event entirely online. Although we cannot gather here on campus, as the Dean and the Associate Dean, Indigenous Strategy and Services, it's my privilege to offer this acknowledgement of country. Sydney Law School is located on the lands of the Gadigal, the people of the Gadi. And as you can see, thanks to amazing technology, you can see them, beautiful Gadi plants. These have been recently planted in front of the law school. The Gadigal have owned this land, applied their laws and customs from time immemorial. And we honour their ongoing connection to this land and recognise our obligation to strive for achieving more justice for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. As a mark of respect to our local Aboriginal communities and their elders, past, present and emerging, I offer this greeting in the Gadigal language. Nyari Galawagan, Mari Budya Gadi Nurada. We meet together on this very beautiful Gadi country. I was taught this by my colleague and my friend, Professor Jacqueline Troy, a leading scholar of Indigenous languages at this university. She has the knowledge and authority to teach and has encouraged us all to use this within the university. Of course, sadly, we don't meet together in this physical space, but we are virtually linked across cyberspace. So this inaugural virtual celebration of student achievement is special in so many ways. I hope there will be some virtual cheers, some sharing of gifts and emojis through our various social media channels. I will also be supported by occasional canned laughter and fake applause, which is probably all I deserve. I will now introduce virtual messages from two distinguished Sydney Law alumni, the Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Michael Spence, AC, and the Governor of New South Wales, Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beazley, QC, AC, who offer all the awardees tonight their heartfelt congratulations.
As a proud alumnus of the University of Sydney, I wanted to offer my congratulations to all those whose tremendous achievement is being recognised today in this virtual ceremony. It's a remarkable thing to be one of the top graduates from one of the top law schools in the world. I know when I was in Oxford in the law faculty for 20 years, we were always really pleased to receive applications from Sydney graduates because they were so sought after internationally for the quality of their education and for the impressive way in which they were trained to think like lawyers, but also to think about legal studies contextually. As I am sure for all of you, there will be a tremendously bright future, whether as a career in the law or for the many different things that a legal education prepares you. Well done.
Thank you, Dean, for this invitation. To all prize winners and your families and friends, Bujiri Gamarua. Welcome as I speak to you from Gadigal land. How many times this year have you heard the word unprecedented? Not in my speeches, I can assure you. Indeed, I've banned its use in Government House, although I think I just used it. That was the year that was is another expression which tends to pop up all too often, but this expression seems particularly apt at the moment. In years to come, when you look back on this year as your year that was, overtaken as it has been by COVID-19, you will have the rightful satisfaction and the pride in knowing that you have not only succeeded in your year of academic study, you have done so to the highest standard of excellence in a year that has been difficult at every level of endeavour. Sydney University in general, and Sydney Law School in particular, demands of its students the highest academic standards. It is why this university and our law school, I say our law school because it was also my law school, has a global reputation for excellence. Congratulations to all 2020 prize winners. The standard of excellence you have achieved is an international standard of the highest order. Your achievements will propel you as our next generation of top practitioners within the legal profession into the future. It is now my great honour to convey my congratulations to John Patrick Asimakis and Harrison Rogers, Sydney Law School's joint 2020 University Medalists for Law. I also congratulate Amelia Burns, ranked first in the 2020 Juris Doctor cohort, the University, the Law School, and every person participating in tonight's awards ceremony is very proud of you. Congratulations.
Now I'd like to turn to the awardees tonight, thanking both the Vice-Chancellor and Her Excellency for their inspirational remarks and offers of congratulations. So we'll now turn to the awards. Dylan Adams, who receives the Judge Samuel Redshaw Prize for Administrative Law. Stephen Adler, the E.D. Roper Memorial Prize No. 2 for Equity and Corporations Law. Claire Azapadi, the Mr. Justice Stanley Virtus Memorial Prize for Family Law. Alana Barbaro, the Walter Ernest Savage Prize for Foundations of Law. Amelia Burns, who was ranked first in the JD cohort of 2019. Yi-Ning Kao, Allens Linklaters Prize in Real Property, Margaret Ethel Peden Prize in Real Property. Stephanie Carr, the Ashurst Prize in Environmental Law. Reese Carvoso, the Julius and Rika Stone Award in International Law and Jurisprudence, and the Nancy Gordon Smith Prize for Honours at Graduation. Eugene Chang, the University of Sydney Foundation Prize for Australian International Taxation. Frida Chan, the Law Press Asia Prize for Chinese Legal Studies No. 2. Sarah Chirac, the Allens Prize in Corporations Law. Miguel Cruz, Jeff Sharp Prize in Tax Research. Pearl Davidson, the Nancy Gordon Smith Prize for Honours at Graduation. Jack Dillon, the King and Wood Mallison's Prize in Banking and Financial Instruments. Eden Ding, Carolyn Munro Gibbs Prize for Torts. Rebecca Dooley, the Fiona Gardner Hill Prize in Corporate Law. Maya Eswaran, the E.M. Mitchell Prize for Contracts, and the Herbert Smith Freehills Prize in Contracts. Daniel Faber, the John George Daly Prize No. 1B. Madeline Fisher, the E.D. Roper Memorial Prize No. 2 for Equity and Corporations Law. Henry Gallagher, the Thomas P. Flattery Prize for Roman Law. Samuel Goldberg, the Georgia Matilda Harris Scholarship No. 2B for third year of Combined Law. Patrick Graham, the Ashurst Prize in Advanced Taxation Law. Sebastian Gray, the John Geddes Prize for Equity. Melissa Gao, Law Press Asia Prize for Chinese Legal Studies #2. Yu Han, the E.M. Mitchell Prize for Contracts, and the Herbert Smith Freehills Prize in Contracts. Claire Ho, Law Society of New South Wales Prize for Law, Lawyers and Justice, and Margaret Dalrymple Hay Prize for Law, Lawyers and Justice. Senwei Hu, the Law Press Asia Prize for Chinese Legal Studies #1. Laura Ismay, the Peter Patterson Prize. Hugh Jameson, the Ashurst Prize in Australian Income Tax. Benjamin John, John Geddes Prize for Equity. Ashley Kalata, the Keith Steele Memorial Prize. Emma Kench, the Carolyn Munro Gibbs Prize for Torts. Byron Knight, the Ampler Prize in Energy and Climate Law. Tiffany Kutruthas, the Sybil Morrison Prize for Jurisprudence Part 2. Jacqueline Crinder, the J.H. McClemens Memorial Prize #1 in Criminology. Nancy Gordon Smith Prize for Honours at Graduation. Rose Scott Prize for Proficiency at Graduation by a Woman Candidate, and the Tufu and Ruby Lee Memorial Prize in Criminology. Grant Kinniston, Sybil Morrison Prize for Jurisprudence Part 2. Angela Lambros, the Monaghan Prize for Evidence. Emily Long, the Alan Ayling Prize for Environmental Law. Simone Luca, Harmer's Workplace Lawyers Prize for Labour Law, and the Sir Alexander Beatty Prize in Industrial Law. Wenkai Lu, the Andrew M. Clayton Memorial Prize, Clayton Youths, Law Society of New South Wales Prize for Law, Lawyers and Justice, and the Margaret Dalrymple Hay Prize for Law, Lawyers and Justice. Brendan Marr, the Edwin John Curley Prize for Proficiency in Real Property and Equity, the George and Matilda Harris Scholarship #1 for second year, the New South Wales Justices Association Prize in Administrative Law, the Pitt Cobbett Prize for Administrative Law, and the C.A. Hardwick Prize in Constitutional Law. Nadine Martini, the Edward and Emily McWhinney Prize in International Law, and the Pitt Cobbett Prize for International Law. Serena May, the Sir Peter Hayden Prize for the Best Undergraduate Contribution in Constitutional, Administrative or International Law. Emily McClellan, the Monaghan Prize for Evidence. Laura Metcalf, the J.H. McClemens Memorial Prize #2 in Criminology. Lucy Nasson, E.D. Roper Memorial Prize #1 for Equity and Corporations Law, George and Matilda Harris Scholarship #2A, and the Pitt Cobbett Prize for Constitutional Law. Kin Pan, the Ampler Prize in Energy and Climate Law. Katerina Pavlidis, the Gustav and Emma Bondi Postgraduate Prize, and the Marjorie O'Brien Prize. Thu Pham, New South Wales Justice Association in Administrative Law, and the Pitt Cobbett Prize for Administrative Law. Samuel Rabin, Allen's Prize in Corporations Law. Maxine Richard, the Angel Akira Kawamura Prize in Japanese Law. Kate Richardson, the Playfair Prize in Migration Law. Chi-Huan Kate Rowe, the John Geddes Prize for Equity. Michael Rodd, the Gustav and Emma Bondi Postgraduate Prize. Merle Rund, the Sir John Peden Memorial Prize for Proficiency in Foundations of Law, Federal Constitutional Law, International Law and Real Property. Madeleine Sallier, Walter Ernest Savage Prize for Foundations of Law. Shivani Shankaran, the Mr. Justice Stanley Virtues Memorial Prize for Family Law. Cameron Shamshabad, the Gustav and Emma Bondi Postgraduate Prize. Amelia Simpson, the John Warwick McCluskey Memorial Prize. Maxwell Sturt, the Ashurst Prize in Australian Income Tax. Shu Wai William Tai, Law Press Asia Prize for Chinese Legal Studies #1. Jasmine Todoroshka, the Aaron Levine Prize for Criminal Law. Michael Townsend, the John Geddes Prize for Equity. Daniel Tracy, the G.W. Hyman Memorial Prize in Labour Law, and the Judge J. Perdriu Prize #2. Yvonne Chuong, Harmer Workplace Lawyers Prize for Anti-Discrimination Law. Jade Tyrrell, the Judge J. Perdriu Prize #1. Fayette Vermeer, Mr. Justice Stanley Virtues Memorial Prize for Family Law. Hayden Wardle Burris, Dancy Gordon Smith Postgraduate Prize for LLM by Coursework. Meg Winton, Law Society of New South Wales Prize for Law, Lawyers and Justice. Gang Yang, the John Geddes Prize for Equity, and the Tomonari Akaha Memorial Prize. Bonnie Yates, the J.H. McClemens Memorial Prize #3 in the Diploma of Criminology. Anthony Youssef, the Julia Stone Prize in Sociological Jurisprudence, and the Sybil Morrison Prize for Jurisprudence Part 2. And so that brings us to the end of the prizes, but there's more. There's the Dean's List of Academic Excellence. And every year we acknowledge those students that perform extraordinarily well across a range of their subjects. And wondering what, in fact, it required to attain the Dean's List, which is a very positive thing, I had a look on Canvas. And I was quite surprised to discover this. As you can see, Dean's List is and means the dead of Sydney Law School list of excellence for academic performance. Now, of course, this was a typo. I can assure you, you are not dead, and you are very much alive and very much valued. So with this somewhat humorous typo, I would like to then provide with you a list of our recipients of 2019 Dean's List awardees. I won't read them all out, but look, as you can see, it's a significant achievement to make that list, and I congratulate the students who are definitely not dead. So moving on. So we turn now to the University Medals for Law. This year, the award which is given to the students or student that achieves the best results overall in the course of their degree go to two award winners, John Patrick Asimakis and Harrison Rogers. And I now will turn to the prizes in addition to the University Medal that both these recipients achieved. John Patrick Asimakis was awarded the Nancy Gordon Smith Prize for Honours at Graduation, the Sir Dudley Williams Prize, the Ian Joy Prize in Law, and the Joy Prize in Law. Harrison Rogers was awarded the Bruce Panton McFarlane Prize, the Joy Prize in Law, the Nancy Gordon Smith Prize for Honours at Graduation, and the R.G. Henderson Memorial Prize from the New South Wales Bar Association. I'm delighted that Harrison has accepted an invitation to offer a few remarks to other prize winners tonight. I offer my congratulations on behalf of the school and the university to both these worthy recipients, and I turn now to Harrison.
And congratulations to you all for whatever reason it is that you're here, if only virtually. I will do my best to keep this relatively brief and relatively free from self-indulgence. I didn't intend to be a lawyer. In fact, I enrolled in law simply because it was the next white-collar profession in line after I managed to fail an interview for medicine at this university, an interview which, as some of you might know, has a fail rate of about 3%. So it was an inauspicious start. Unexpectedly, I enjoyed the study of law, and I am, for my sins, likely to become a lawyer. And I should warn you now that I'm going to say some guardedly positive things about the contribution of the law school and its culture to that being so. Of course, nothing could be said about the culture of the law school without mentioning the faint but inescapable air of nervous competition and the seedy glamour afforded to the commercial profession, most pronounced during the clerkship process. But I don't want to focus on those things, but on what I think is beneath them, at least if you squint, which is a seriousness about the study of the practice of law and a sense of its value, which is rare and precious. I'm sure that some of you have doubts about some of the claims made for the practice of law, about the distinctiveness of legal reasoning, about its logical completeness, and about the degree to which legal reasoning doesn't just conceal unstated preferences on policy questions. And despite its black-letter pretensions, it's appropriate that students at this law school should have those doubts. It was once home, of course, to Australia's most famous legal realist, at least before he left for UNSW, where he was reportedly much happier. And I don't think that anyone who has those doubts should abandon them. I share them, and to some extent they're probably healthy. But the logical indeterminacy of the law is mediated by a widely shared body of intuitive understandings of the content and application of the norms and standards we all know to be indeterminate, or, as it is put more kindly, open-textured. And for all its failings, the Australian legal system couldn't function so well, in fact, that the average layperson barely knows what the High Court does, much less cares, without that body of unspoken knowledge. And that body of knowledge is produced and maintained in part because of law schools like this one, with close ties to the profession and a sense of the importance of law as a distinct body of knowledge, not, or rather not merely, a system of social control. And I, at least, am deeply grateful to the law school for that fact. I also want to thank more specifically a number of academics and tutors, particularly Sheila McCracken, Emily Hammond, and Mitchell Cleaver, for taking their subjects seriously, and their students, myself included, more seriously than they deserved, but never themselves. I owe a much larger debt to my fiancée, to my family, and to a number of close friends who know who they are, but hopefully will never hear this speech. Congratulations again to all of you. Thank you.
I'd just like to offer a few final remarks. Achievement will not be unfamiliar to those who study here at Sydney Law School. This cohort of high achievers from which these winners emerge is truly the best of the best in Australia and the world. That might sound like hyperbole, but truly that is the truth. Having said that, I don't want any of you to get a big head. Just remember those that enabled this to happen, your teachers, your peers, and perhaps most importantly, your family and friends. Success does not always come easy and often rests on those supporters working in the background who help you to achieve. So to all of the awardees recognised tonight, do take the time to thank those who have helped you make it happen. Now, I do have one final surprise for everyone tonight, and that is that every recipient of an award or recognition tonight will receive an additional prize. Yeah. Okay, no, you haven't won a car, and I haven't expunged your HECS debt. You will receive an additional prize. But first I want to tell you about the donors. We often overlook at these ceremonies the donors, their lives, their connection with Sydney, their connection with Sydney Law School, and the motivations behind their generosity. Tonight, everyone will be receiving a gift of book vouchers, $500 in fact, from the Walter Reed Memorial Fund. And this fund was a legacy from the estate of Walter's sister, Kathleen, in 1965. And she left a major in perpetuity gift to enable students of law to purchase any books, magazines, periodicals, and tapes. I mean, this was 1965. That has been construed as including, you'll be relieved, online subscriptions. And most importantly, they're of your own choosing, relevant to your own learning and enjoyment and education, and sensibly not just for law books. Spend it wisely. I'll tell you a little bit about Walter. So Walter studied law and arts here in the 1920s. He was a barrister. He became the honorary secretary of the New South Wales Bar Association and died tragically in 1947 at the age of only 49, falling after he'd been visiting his good friend and solicitor, Mr. Allen. He was a distinguished barrister practicing in family law, specialising in divorce, but he was also an erudite and reputed scholar of Central European history, fluent in both French and German. I'm sure that Walter and his sister Kathleen would have been amazed and delighted that their generosity continues more than half a century later to support the educational enrichment of the next generation of students. I think Walter would also be amazed, perhaps even shocked, at the price of law textbooks. So I hope his donation and his sister's generosity will be well used. So my final remark is really a thank you to all our donors. The law school and the wider student community is so grateful for the generosity of its supporters, past and present, which enable us to continue to inspire the next generation of law graduates. My final duty before closing is to thank our events team, Carla Viola, Simran Singh and Andy Netherington, who over the past 6 months have learned so many new skills, without which this inaugural online virtual prize-giving ceremony would simply not have been possible, or, I hope, nearly as much fun. Well, thank you and have a good night. Celebrate sensibly and safely. Respect the COVID restrictions. And don't forget to post on our social media channels. #InspiringLegalMinds. Thank you and good night.